Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are having a great day. So today, as you can tell by the title of the video, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? Is Bitcoin MYK a scam, right? Is it a scam? So first off, I want to say education entertainment channel, one of our mottos is never fall in love with a coin. Fall in love with the fundamentals. And so we always tell people to come in from the jump start looking at projects as a potential scam. They are so rampant in the cryptocurrency space, it's almost natural to come in first, right? And thinking they're a scam. And the inspiration for the video, Bitcoin MYK has now officially made the cut because it's somebody's called it a scam, right? So this is like a rite of passage as well in cryptocurrency. I don't think you can be a successful cryptocurrency without being referred to as a scam at some point, right? And today there is a pretty vast population of people out there who think Bitcoin is a scam, right? Even now, even today, even this far along. So I think that is healthy skepticism, right? I think that is a healthy approach, at least at first. But the only thing I would ask, meaning the crypto to do or consider at least, that the more uh, 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 the more that we carelessly throw the word scam around, the less alerts and power it has. So it's kind of like when you look at all these people who fall for projects where they're taken advantage of. And you hear people across cryptocurrency going, oh, they're so gullible, they're so dumb, they're so this, they're so that, right? And they're really ragging on these people. Part of that probably comes from calling every project in cryptocurrency a scam, right? And so maybe they become desensitized to the projects that kind of like the boy who cried wolf, right? But I've definitely considered healthy, and we're willing to have the conversation. It doesn't bother us at all. We love to talk with anybody and ask that they bring the receipts if they believe that's the case. Uh, we know some projects get upset when they're called the scam. Some project founders get upset when you ask about transparency and what are their holdings and what is their stake, and they tell you things like it's none of your business and worry about your own money and don't pocket watch, right? Even though they're the founder. And of course, people are going to be naturally concerned about if they're holding a large stake of the cryptocurrency and if they at some point may dump on these people, right? Or manipulate the market some kind of way. And all of these are very healthy, natural concerns, right? I don't see a problem with it at all, right? But what I would say is that in looking at a project like Bitcoin MYK, let's talk about the facts of it first. And what are the facts? Well, the facts are Bitcoin MYK was created and founded without any of the communities. The community didn't have to do an ICO, invest any money in it or anything for it to be developed, right? So it was no violations of securities laws in that aspect. There were no thinly disguised, masked ways to skirt around SEC regulations, right? Um, the wallets are transparent, right? So we can see where they're coming from. We can see the transactions. We can see the founder stakes. All that's transparent, right? You have access to all that information. Um, you mint the coins free. There's no cost to doing it. So in other words, our version of mining doesn't require you produce any money to be able to produce the cryptocurrency, right? You don't have to stake a certain amount of the coin, none of that, right? Everybody's on a level playing field here, right? The transactions are essentially free. Every 24 hours to move the cryptocurrency, it works with something called resource credits, and you're totally replenished, and you can do more transactions than most people will need to do, right? And so, uh, you know, for all intended purposes, just pretty much free everything. So what's the catch? It's got to be a catch, because if I'm listening to something like this, yeah, it does sound like a scam. It does begin to sound like a scam or something, right? What's the catch with Bitcoin MYK? It most certainly has to be one. It's just too good to be true. Well, to help many of you all understand something about cryptocurrency, some of you probably heard of Grant Cardone, the real estate guru, and I don't follow him, right? I'm not saying he's a scam or anything. Some people I hear get great knowledge from him and so on. But he did say something I thought made a lot of sense. And he said that if in cryptocurrency we want people to adopt it, and we want this to be the currency of the future, and we want this to be in everybody's hands and out of fiat currencies from governments, etc., then he said, then why not just give it to everybody, right? If you think of something like the US dollar, or most of your currencies, most of us first acquired them because somebody gave them to us. It wasn't that we necessarily produced anything to earn them. It wasn't necessarily a fair trade of services, etc. Through your ecosystem, through osmosis, if you will, you were able to just kind of have access to this cryptocurrency. Currency. Whether your parents gave it to you, or whatever, chores around the house, whatever the case was, you inherited it. It was a process in which there was no direct transaction between you and getting this currency, right? To be able to trade and survive and do these things, right? So the idea of the Bitcoin MYK project is, what if something like that occurred where everybody just kind of got the cryptocurrency? They minted it free, they showed up for it, they got it. Their participation created it. Their need for it and having access to it, right? What if that happened? What would the world look like? So some would argue that, well, if that happened, then what would actually happen in retrospect would be it would have no value. The cryptocurrency itself would be worthless, right? Is that the case? Is that true? Is that true? Well, our data and research shows actually the opposite effect, right? That the more people obtain the cryptocurrency free and come into the network, the more buyers we start to see, the more activity we start to see, the more memberships we start to see, the more attention value we start to see just by people getting it free. And it kind of leads us into the theory of Metcalfe's law. And what does Metcalfe's law say? Well, Metcalfe's law say that the value of a network increases in direct relation to the number of nodes, points of connection, accounts, etc. So in other words, the more people coming into the network, the more you actually have value that's being moved, right? It's points of connections. We have a very simple user interface that allows you to mint the token, and you can kind of think of it like Metcalfe's laws of many social networks, right? What happens, right? They reach 1 billion people, they become worth billions of dollars. Doesn't seem that hard in idea and theory, unless there is a type of process in which there are some that subscribe to certain economic theories, right, that separate them from a lot of the community, in which what can happen is that we start to get these disparities and big gaps in ownership of networks, etc. So in other words, you end up with cryptocurrency as we know it today, where you can have one guy owning 90% of the entire network. You can have very poor displays of decentralization, right? Of the value in the network, the wealth, etc. But the more tools are created to combat that issue, expand Metcalfe's law, the more value start to get in the network. And the more people we began to see joining, that buyers naturally come into the markets, right? I know it's hard to believe, but it is a fact. And what we're quite aware of then is we only need to scale this up exponentially. And what will happen? Well, what is clearly the case we're finding is that the token being worthless doesn't occur, right? Now, um, in the project, because we understand cryptocurrency, there are certain tokenomics at play, things we understand. We understand how inflation works, deflation works, various economics, whether it be Austrian economics as such, or whether it be more like a Keynesian type approach. And whatever the case may be, we've had a long career on Wall Street, and we're very astute and knowledgeable about financial markets, right? And these behaviors don't stop in the standard economy. These behaviors go over into the cryptocurrency space. And so we can use those same theorems to figure a lot of this stuff out. I guess at the end of the day, what we've done is, through the creation of this, we've created something as well called the citizens dividend, which is our buzz phrase for getting the value of the network out to everybody, right? And thinking about what you can do with free transactions, being able to mint this cryptocurrency free and build this large network, right? I find it funny that people would accuse us of a scam, but the people that they're dumping their millions and billions of dollars into meme coins, and they're dumping them into people who don't even tell you how much of the cryptocurrency they hold, or what they plan to do exactly with it. They don't even tell you they got it, right? And they just take your money. And so I think we have to grow up in the cryptocurrency space, right? We really have to grow up, and it's fine to, like I said before, it's fine to start off. I say start off, everything's a scam. Start off right there with everything being a scam. But at some point, we have to grow up and begin to ask ourselves the question, what really are the scams out there? Who's really taking your money and giving you nothing for it? Who's taking your money and you're not seeing the progress in the value of the network, right? Now, some people would allude, I guess, in Bitcoin MYK, as the network's growing. Remember, it is, you've got to get the people in first. And that's the growth is there, right? And the growth is happening. But what happens in cryptocurrency, if people start to see low activity or low liquidity for whatever reason, they automatically assume it's not a good project, right? But here's the reality, guys. The reality of cryptocurrency is that the low volume, low transactional projects are probably more close to the legitimate projects than the ones who have a lot of liquidity in some cases. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you really think about it, and the SEC did a report on it, and it was something like only about 3 to 5% of cryptocurrency trading is real. The rest is like wash trading. And if you guys don't believe me, and you're like one of these Posican Hexicans, probably one of the people who've called us a scam, because the assumption that maybe we've called Post and Hex a scam, which we haven't. We haven't, but we have presented information and evidence as the goal of our channel to do. That doesn't always show Hex and Post in a good light. In fact, in a lot of times it shows in a very bad light. And it's a reason it's in that bad light. But so a lot of the so-called good currency trading, cryptocurrencies, are actually propped up by illegal trading called wash trading. So it's mostly all fake. So if you see like a project, probably low liquidity, not doing a lot of, that's probably real. And the good thing about real is that's why you have the rug pulls and the market drop 90%, because those orders were never real, right? And they take them away before you can sell. How do you think a cryptocurrency can lose so much value like that so quickly? There is no standard investment that can do that, that's ever done that. Cryptocurrency does that all the time. It's just another day at the park. So I would just caution you all in that way to really take a look at these projects and don't always jump and say, oh, it's all this hype, people are making money. No, it's probably still a small percent of people making money on these projects, and the rest is just wash trading, right? With the meme coins and many, even a lot of these major cryptocurrencies, it's same thing going on. Binance proved that to us, right? As people did research on Binance and was able to discover certain things about Binance, right? And I'm not up on my news today. I've been out most of the day, but I'm hearing something now about the SEC suing Binance. So maybe you all can respond to that, right? If they're doing something, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's related. Obviously, if the SEC is involved, they're doing something that the SEC determines illegal. And we're not surprised by that. Let's not put the good projects in those boxes, right? Projects that offer citizens dividend, that bring economic prosperity to the world, that are set up in this way to actually help humanity, to help the world grow, right? That's what you want to look at. You don't want to be one of these people who ignore those things and find yourself in a real bad situation because you're playing this casino game, right? You're playing this shell game, and there's nothing there, and you're not helping humanity. You're probably not in the long run even helping yourself, right? So I think everybody deep down knows who the good projects are, right? But there's a reason that scams are so successful. And we have to check ourselves as to why that is, right? We have to be honest with ourselves, right? That we're seeking a certain thing. What I'm saying is under Metcalfe's law, there's a great possibility we can still obtain these great returns, help the world, and create this economic prosperity, right? We invite you, if you're already looking at the video, if you're already, if you're already watching our videos, if you're already on the channel, it should be a no-brainer for you. Seek out some of our resource materials and take 5 minutes to study and try to understand ideas like Metcalfe's law and what it is exactly we're doing here, right? Take a moment, right? Because I think it'll click like a light bulb when you start to understand that certain ideas like inflation, what we're doing with the citizens' dividend, works better. Actually works better than deflationary projects. And it took me a long time to admit that. But it's all over history. The breadcrumbs are all there. That gold was the worst currency for humanity. We had more poverty-stricken people under gold than we have with the euro and the US dollar. What we need to do is expand that to cryptocurrency, right? And that's what the Bitcoin MYK inflation token does, right? That's why we created it. It gives everybody a chance to share in the economic prosperity of the world. And we do it in a very intelligent, clever way with technology that I'm sure many of y'all will appreciate and start to understand, right? But you got to allow yourself to ask those questions and seek that information, and you got to get out of the hype. It will be your undoing. I'm telling you, it's already been many of you guys undoing. You're just more so gambling addicts at this point. But this is a real project, and these are the type of projects that are going to really help and change the world. I know a lot of people are thinking it's going to be the Richard Hart ecosystem. I don't think it is, to be honest with you all. I think it's going to be something like this. And I love to have that intelligent conversation with you guys. I know when money's involved, people get passionate about their pocketbooks. They'll say anything and they'll do anything, as we've seen, to try to preserve that. And I understand. But you can't do things the wrong way and expect a good result, right? So it's time to grow up, and it's time to start to really think about these type things, before you end up a victim. And being in cryptocurrency, you likely will at some point. But that's all I want to say in this video, guys. Don't forget to join Bitcoin MYK today. It's absolutely free. Try it out. You don't invest a dime in it. Try it out, use it, see if you like it. Spend some money with it. Go sell some of the currency. Get the feel of it, that it's real. And when you do that, maybe it'll click for you as well, and you'll begin to understand exactly how it works. But that's all I want to say here in the video, guys. So next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.